welcome to another exciting adventure with the amazing Time Detectives. I'm Katleho, your host, and today's adventure takes us way back. I'm talking almost 2 centuries ago. Exploring history is always such a fascinating process, especially when we go back 100 or 200 years ago. Most of us associate Nkosi Sikelel iAfrika with the African National Congress, right? Well, today we get to find out where it all began. Let's join the detectives to find out more. Nkosi Sikelel iAfrika is usually sung by a choir. In other words, it is choral music. Choirs were first part of church life, but nowadays, choirs are even found in the workplace. Here at the SABC, the staff have a choir, and our detectives are meeting choir director Dr. Nkabinde because he has a long relationship with choral music. He first sang in a choir at the age of 8. He has conducted many choirs over the years and enjoys making choral music interesting for the youth.
Hello, how are you?
I'm alright.
No, fine, I'm Thulasizwe Nkabinde. Yeah. How are you?
I'm
Fine, Thulasizwe Nkabinde. Game. Good. Legai. Legai. Go on, man. Bisan. Legai. Go on, man. Roger. Okay.
Hi Doc, we are the Amazing Time Detectives and we want to find out more about choral music.
Oh, good. No, lovely. No, then come and have a seat here. Choral music, it goes a very long way. I don't even think your parents and your grandparents were born at that time. It goes way back to 1830, 1840, when the missionaries came to South Africa, having gone to the other parts of Africa. They introduced what you call missionary education. So missionary education was with a lot of religion and a bit of music as in serious music, theory of music. So now that part of education had the hymns as well. Hymns, if you go to church, the songs that you sing in church very formally when you are standing and folding your arms, those songs are called hymns. For instance, the song Nkosi Sikelel iAfrika by Enoch Sontong, I'm sure I'm going to talk about that a little later. That song is actually a hymn. So Enoch Sontonga is one of these people who did this missionary education. And then he became a priest in the Methodist Church. So now he started writing hymns for the Methodist Church. So this song, Nkosi Sikelel iAfrika, is one of the hymns of the Methodist Church. There's a black person who was ordained as the first minister of religion in the Methodist Church. That was somewhere in Limpopo province, Reverend Mboweni. Right, so when he was ordained as the minister, in other words, from that part of the world, he was the first black person to be ordained as a minister of religion, Christianity. So there's a choir that was moving around singing that song, Nkosi Sikelel iAfrika, Ohlange High School Choir, which was conducted by John Langalibalele Dube, who was once the president of the ANC as well. So now they went there to sing the song. So the song was actually sung there for the first time, right? And then it became very popular. So political organizations like the ANC today, they would sing the song after their meetings, right? So then eventually the song became so popular that it was recognized as a national anthem, right? And then the other parts of the African continent adopted the song as their national anthem as well, but only changing the lyrics, the words, translating the words into their languages, like in Tanzania and so on and so on. So then it became a song which is popular throughout the African continent because the words are saying, Nkosi Sikelel iAfrika.
Israel,
So those hymns were structured in what you call four-part harmony. Four-part harmony is this thing called soprano, alto, tenor, and bass. I'm sure you know this popular song, which was popularized by President Jacob Zuma. Mshini wam, awulethu mshini wam, umshini wam, webaba, awulethu mshini wam, awulethu. You see, that song is more of a traditional song because there's one person who's leading and then the other people are just responding. It's called call and response. The technical term is antiphony. This is the structure of African music. But now, the four-part harmony I'm talking about is soprano, alto, tenor, and bass. And those hymns, when you sing that hymn, it's like you're thinking of heaven. You have to fold your arms and think of heaven, something like peace, perfect peace, bam, dam, 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 da, da, na, na, lam, na, 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 nam, na, na, na. There's no movement, there's no action, there's nothing. You're just thinking of God and when you'll be going to heaven one day. So it's different from African music. Choral music was actually started by you people of your age group. That is very interesting. Then later on, church choirs adopted the idea of the competitions because these teachers, they also go to church. So they came with this idea of the competitions and introduced that in their churches. And then the churches went on the competitions as well. And then later on, it developed now to community choirs, right? But to adult choirs, right? In 1978, there's a competition that was started for the community choirs. It was initiated by Professor Kabim Ngoma. Professor Kabim Ngoma was the first black person to be a head of music department at the University of Zululand in KwaZulu-Natal. That's where I also studied music as well. So he was my professor. He was my head of department. So he's the one who initiated the idea of starting a competition now for the community choirs for adult people. So that actually marked the development of choral music in South Africa. And it is becoming very strong now. And there are so many youth choirs, people of your age. I'm interested if you're in, I appreciate the fact that you are interested in choral music, because if young people like you are involved in choral music, then it means there is future for choral music in this country. Word choral, word choir means more than two people coming together to make music. That means a choir. Just more than one. You start from a solo, you go to a duet. If there are two, there are three, it's a trio. And then four, it's a quartet. Five, it's a quintet, sextet, septet, double quartet. So it's more than one, then that's a choir, because it's many people coming together and they've got to unite their voices. That is part of Ubuntu, because when you sing, you have to listen to the other person as well. You're not just singing alone. So that forms part of humanity. That's the meaning of a choir.
It's time for a break, but we'll be right back with more. Now the detectives were curious to know more about Enoch Sotonga. They spoke to Ellen Buff, who researched Enoch Sotonga's life story at the request of Nelson Mandela.
Well, first of all, who was Enoch Sotonga? Where did he originate from? Where was he born? Things are those questions that a lot of people don't understand and don't actually know. The history was very vague about Enoch in the early days. There was a request came through to Johannesburg at our Parks Department to find out if Enoch Sotonga actually had been buried here in Johannesburg. And we discovered he was buried in the Braamfontein Cemetery. Many people asked the question, where did he come from? Where was he born? What made him tick? Things of that nature. And we didn't have those answers at that time. And when we started searching for Enoch, we then realized that the history that had been written about Enoch Sotonga actually stated that he died at different times, so the history was incorrect. Getting back to the history, though, of Enoch Tonga, where did he come from? Uitenhage. Right, so he was born in Uitenhage to the family who are keen Methodists and preached and practiced the Methodist Church. Enoch was brought up in the Methodist Church in a very religious atmosphere. He studied to become a preacher, a teacher, a choir master, and a very keen photographer. And most of the photographs you actually find of Enoch Tonga around in the museums are self-portraits that he actually taken himself. Now, he married Diana, came up here to Johannesburg, and he actually taught at the Nansfield Methodist Church, at the school just outside of Nansfield. And the church itself was at the bottom of what we call now the Tonga Hills, right next to where the university is, Vista University. And a small church was there, and he used to preach there on the weekends as well as teach the children during the week. And Tonga then wrote the first stanza of what we know as Nkosi Sikelel, iAfrika, the national anthem of South Africa. He wrote that sitting at the front of the church at Nansfield. And what a lot of people don't realize, he wrote many, many, many songs. And those songs he used to sing with the children at the church, and he used to take them for walks on a Sunday morning to the top of Tababasu, which is a small mountain at Pimville, the highest pinnacle in Pimville. And he used to sing with the children, sing their hearts out, and that sound, you could just picture it 100 years ago, that sound echoing through the valleys of Soweto, through Mafelo Park and so forth, and all the children singing. Now, during his life, which was very short, 32 years in all, he had problems with his stomach, and he used to suffer from gastroenteritis. Well, we thought it was gastroenteritis. It could have been appendicitis, rumbling appendicitis. And on the particular day that he passed away, he said to his wife, Diana, that he wasn't feeling too well. And his wife said that she had toothache, and she had to go to the dentist. And she wouldn't be too long, but she'd come back. And when she came back, she found him dead. And that was the end and the tragic story of Enoch Tonga. However, his music lives on forever. And I'm busy doing the research at the moment for John Dube's wife. Now, John Dube was the first ANC president in 1912. And what happened was his wife knew Enoch Tonga very well, and the information, and she loved the song and the hymn that he'd actually composed. And Enoch Tonga's hymn, Nkosi Sikelel, iAfrika, wasn't actually a national anthem at that point. It was just a basic hymn. But she loved it so much that she introduced it to the ANC as the closing prayer for the first meeting of the ANC. And what happened from then on, it was used thereafter at every single closing prayer. And it was used as a main thrust of the anti-apartheid system to actually get the unity of the people together in singing Nkosi Sikelel, iAfrika. So the national anthem, although it was only the first stanza that Enoch Tonga had actually written, that was actually found. At a later stage, Saul Plaatje was actually asked to actually compose the remainder, and he had to investigate the works of Enoch and also to look at how he thought and try to get into the mind. Although he was not here any longer, how did he think? What was the thoughts of the Methodist Church at that time? How would Enoch have actually designed, developed, and embroidered upon this particular song? So Saul Plaatje brought out the final, all the stanzas of Nkosi Sikelel, iAfrika. Right, chaps, now this is a map of the actual cemetery itself, showing the particular sections. We have the Jewish section, Mohammedan, Cape people, Christian Bantu, and so forth. And in this particular area here, where the Christian Bantu are buried here, this is exactly where Enoch Tonga was buried. Now, when we actually had the memorial service and the opening service and the unveiling of the tombstone, you will find there that we actually had the road which runs parallel here renamed as Enoch Tonga Avenue in memory of Enoch. And we had the whole area proclaimed as a memorial park, and it is a heritage site now that nobody can ever take it away from us. It was opened on the first Heritage Day of South Africa back in 1996.
Why was Enoch Tonga buried in the Christian Bantu section?
Well, remember when Johannesburg was very young. Johannesburg only started in 1886, and very few cemeteries existed in Johannesburg. This was the second municipal cemetery. The first one was in the center of town, which no longer exists now. But this was the first main cemetery, large cemetery, which was available here in Johannesburg. There wasn't even a cemetery in Soweto or any of the other areas. So no matter who it was, this was a multiracial cemetery that everybody had to be buried here.
Was it because of apartheid that people were buried in different sections?
Not really. The church has had a lot of influence on the development of the cemetery, and we had the sections built out on religious basis, be it the Dutch Reformed Church or the Roman Catholic, the Jewish section, Mohammed, and so forth. However, in this particular area here, you'll find it's got Christian Bantu. So irrespective if you are Methodist, we were not buried in the other areas. So yes, you could say there was an apartheid in the olden day cemeteries, but it was still based on religious grounds in the main.
Thank you for your time, Ellen. We learned so much today.
Only but a pleasure. We learned everything about our heritage.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Nambagashli, ne?
Now that our detectives know more about Enoch Sontonga's life, his death at a young age, and at the success of his music, they wanted to pay their respects. They visit his resting place, which was declared a national monument in 1996. This was the very first graveyard in Johannesburg, but it was only 91 years later that Enoch Sontonga's grave had a tombstone put on it.
Now we've come to the place, the national monument of Enoch Mangai Sontonga, as you can see here. So like I said earlier on, that it was not easy for them to locate this grave because it was written Enoch Christian Kafro. It was not written Enoch Mangai Sontonga. So this name and the surname were not reflected, so it was difficult. But eventually then it was discovered. Like I said to you, somebody wrote a song, Amatambo ga Sontonga Afunyen. We have discovered the bones of Enoch Sontonga. So now this is the national monument. This is the place of the hero. So in life, my closing remarks, in life as young people, make it a point that you make a mark, you leave a mark. You do something in life so that we can be remembered like Enoch Sontonga.
Thank you. We learned so much.
Thank you, thank you. Wishing you all the best.
Thanks, we appreciate it.
You're welcome.
It's touching to learn that Enoch Sontonga especially wrote songs for his young learners to sing. The hymn, Nkosi Sikelel, iAfrika, started out sung by a young church choir, but later it took on different meanings. Our detectives reflect on the journey of this special hymn.
What the most interesting part was for me is the 4-part harmony that he was talking about, and also that how the Nkosi Sikelel hymn, how it became a national anthem. But when we went to the memorial site today, I was a bit freaked out because I actually haven't been before and first time experience, but I kind of got used to it after a while.
And the ANC always sang the Nkosi Sikelel after every meeting they had.
And people got to know it and it became popular, so that's how it became the national anthem.
And what's shocking is that Nelson Mandela, after he got out of prison, he just mixed the whole version of Nkosi Sikelel and brought the different race groups together.
Yes, and today Nkosi Sikelel, iAfrika is part of our national anthem. Clearly, our detectives are deeply moved by all that they have learned. And now we have to take a break, but don't go away because we'll be right back. Our memory watchers found that there weren't many pictures of Enoch Sontonga and that there wasn't much written about choral music. So as their interest grew, they decided to create a memory book on the history of choral music. Let's watch them get creative.
That black is really good and strong. That's very nice. Just keep working with that brush.
The memory keepers are lucky to have Beulah Reela and her skills on board. She shows them creative ways to make a book look interesting using natural materials.
Really set a light. Okay, can I just give you? Okay, so always just, you will need an adult to help you with this if you're doing it at home. Please don't do it on your own. All right, make sure there's somebody around to help you.
So the idea of remixing music is not so new, huh? African composers adapted European choral music and combined it with their own song structures. They found creative ways to merge the two and came up with an African sound. The music has been changing over time as other composers continue to adapt it. Well, that's all for today, Curious Minds. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you all had fun.
People with history, roots deeply rooted. We need to search for it, not just any story prescribed and printed with lies. Stories known and alive with truth in it. So true, we can feel the life in, see the light in the sins it makes. The time to awake is not tomorrow, it's today. I can be taught and see the light that's guiding my way toward the path where my ancestors wait. I need to let you know.